here and there at ang daming katanungan. Everybody's confused. Given your experience, ano pong palagay po ninyo sa mga nangyayari? Tama ba ang nangyayari sa Senado ngayon?
Hindi. I'm quite disappointed because there were procedures that were not followed as early as February when the articles of impeachment was transmitted to the Senate. No? But before that, bago yung articles of impeachment, nung namomonitor ko ang mga procedures sa Senate, may mga improvements na dapat ginawa nila or gawin. All they have to do is follow the old style, as old-timers, which I did. I served 9 Senate presidents. So when I became Senate President, and I was Majority Leader before that, I made sure that the rules are followed. Rule number 1, sabi ro sa Constitution, sabi sa rule, alas 3 ng hapon, session kayo bakit alas 3:30 na, wala pa kayo? Di ba? Yung mga ganun kasimple. So, nung panahon ko, hindi pwede yun. For 4.5 years. 3 o'clock, I will bang the gavel.
Yun ang rule talaga. Lahat ng plenary hearings, dapat 3 o'clock.
Alas 3, nag-uumpisa ka dapat.
Yung oath-taking nga po, parang 4:30, basta late sila no?
Doon pa lang medyo, sabi ko nga, disappointed ako. Sabagay, kanya-kanyang style yun. Gusto nila, style sila tardy. Okay lang, sige. Pero, so, if you ask me, ang opinion ko, ayun nga, those were part of the disappointments, I could say. Now, when it comes to the goings-on lately, yung February 5 na sinubmit ng articles of impeachment sa Senate, I said I was disappointed because I was expecting the Senate, through the Senate leadership, and in this case, the Senate President, who received it from the Senate Secretariat after it was transmitted by the HOR, should have informed the Senate and officially referred it to the Committee on Rules. The Rules Committee kasi should handle that. And it's headed by the Majority Leader.
Hindi po ba magko-convene muna yung court bago ipasa sa Committee on Rules?
Hindi. Dapat yung Committee on Rules ang pagpapasahan mo. At yung
from the HOR?
Yes.
Sabi ni,
no. So do the Senate. And the Senate leadership must refer it to the Committee on Rules. Yun ang tamang procedure. Alright? Why? Kahit yung simple na bill ganun ang ginagawa mo on first reading. You will always refer it to the proper committee handling that particular bill. How much more articles of impeachment? So, mapapagbintangan ka, inupuan mo. Because you did. You had 3 hours to do that. They received it at 4 p.m. They ended the session around 7 o'clock.
Parang may sinabi po si Senate President Escudero na sa Committee on Justice ni-refer at yun ang pagkakaintindi niya na dapat sa Committee on Justice.
I doubt if they really did that, na re-refer sa Committee on Justice. Hindi rin. They did not refer it to any committee. There was no referral. Alright? Now, whatever reason they are saying or they are using, after pagdating ng June 3, ginawa nila yung dapat gawin ni-refer sa Committee on Rules. Pero when did they do that? How many months after? So, hindi nakakapagtaka na kaming mga veterano of 2 impeachment proceedings, magtaka at maging disappointed on how it's being done.
Pero yung pag-remand back to the House of Representatives, is that even legal? A legal option for the Senate to do as an impeachment court?
Probably yes, if they have reviewed and started the impeachment. Paano mong nasabi yung laman nun, hindi ka pa kayo nag-try, hindi nyo pinakinggan yung articles, hindi pa sinubmit. So, no, but even beyond that, no, not beyond, even before that muna, dun muna ako sa aking punto, which is, how did you do it? What did they do? They called for an impeachment court, nag-oath-taking, pagkatapos nag-motion sa loob ng impeachment court. That is not done. A senator judge does not file a motion for a resolution. Look at the two other impeachments that we had. Look at the impeachments of the other countries. Walang ganon. They should have done it as a legislative body. Doon pa lang, iba na eh. Iba na yung ginawa. Tumawag muna ng impeachment court, pagkatapos parang gustong i-dismiss. Di ba? Pero naging remand. You know, let me set the record straight, by the way, no? I am not in favor of impeachment. I'm not also in favor. I'm not in favor. You know, I am, shall we say, neutral. Bakit? First of all, the Vice President is a friend of mine. Lalo na, the very dear friend of mine is the father. So, I can be very neutral in this. You know, I'm talking of proper procedures. That rules and procedures should be followed strictly in this case. Because nakataya dito, division of the country, nakataya dito the political career of a
the second highest official.
Second highest official of the land. Kaya dapat yan, sinusunod lahat ng tama ng proper dapat gawin.
Pero sabi po ni Senate President Cheese, yung proceed forthwith ay actually in-affirm to ni Associate Justice Adolf Ascuna na siyang sumulat no forthwith na yung forthwith gives some wiggle room to have a reasonable form of delay.
Kaya nga.
Depende sa konteksto na pumapalibot dun sa impeachment. At according to him then, reasonable yung pag-delay dahil nga nasa gitna ng campaign season, magkakahalalan, at yung pag-delay nito after the elections was reasonable, and if they get to convene as a court at nabasa yung articles of impeachment at nasimulan yung pag-summon, the Senate President would have done his job already. Don't you agree with that? That there was reasonable delay?
Reasonable delay kung nasa Committee on Rules na. Dapat nasunod yung forthwith and a reasonable delay kung pagkatanggap ni-refer sa Committee on Rules. What can the Senate then do then? No? May campaign. So yun daw yung magiging delay. Pero makakakilos ang Committee on Rules. Makaka-review. Makaka-suggest sa legislative body, the Senate as a legislative body on what to do. Bakit nakapag-hearing sila? Bakit nakapag-hearing ng ilang beses si Senator Marcos at may mga hearing sila Senator Gatchalian? Di ba?
Sa akin
in other words, dapat nasunod yung forthwith. Kung natanggap ng Senate President, ni-refer sa Committee on Rules, sabihin, ang Committee on Rules ngayon bahala kung ano gusto mong gawin dyan. Reviewin ninyo, padala nyo sa amin ng kopya, pag-aralan na namin yan. So, pagdating niyang gusto nilang mag-remand, June 3 lang nila pinag-usapan sa Committee on Rules nag-conduct sila as an impeachment court. It becomes premature to take the allegations of the content of the articles of impeachment without conducting a trial or an inquiry at the very least. Dapat nag-trial or nag-inquiry sa laman. Bago mo sabihin na hindi, mali ito naman. Pinag-usapan niyo ba? Akala ko ba hindi niyo na-repair?
Ano bang papel ng Committee on Rules? Because meron na pong Senate rules on impeachment, di po ba?
Yes. But the Committee on Rules, in the Senate, is the number one committee. It is the most powerful committee kung tutusin because that is the reason the chairman of the Committee on Rules is the majority leader. The Committee on Rules ang dinadaanan ng lahat. Dinadaanan ng lahat ng bills. Ang nag-i-schedule kung ano i-take up for the day or the agenda is always the Committee on Rules. Kaya siya lagi ang pinagdadaanan. And then, what contributes to my disappointment pagdating sa ganito? Kasi yung majority leader, lahat na magsasalita sa floor, dapat dumadaan sa majority leader. It is the majority leader who always tells the Senate President who to recognize. It's very seldom, unless very in rare cases, that the Senate President calls for recognizes someone who is not being recognized by the majority leader. Especially kung nabanggit ang pangalan niya. Kung nabanggit ang pangalan niya, pwedeng tumayo yan ng hindi nagsasabi sa majority leader. But always, it's the Senate President should always ask the majority leader. The majority leader says, at sino i-recognize? Nung isang gabi, nanonood ako kung sino-sino yung nagsasalita, nag-aagawan sa microphone.
Nag-i-interrupt nga po.
Asan yung majority leader? And why is the Senate President recognizing everyone? Just like that. So, doon pa lang makikita mo. At saka masakit dito, they were in robes. That was the impeachment court that was happening. It is never done. The motions raised in the majority leader in the impeachment court is usually for adoption of proposed resolutions lang, motions regarding procedural matters only. Ano, kahit yung mga senator judges cannot just stand for and come up with any motion. In the impeachment court, it is reserved to the prosecutors and the defense lawyers. Ganun ang dapat na procedure doon. So what I'm saying is that as a legislative body, they should have discussed that, and instead not going into the impeachment court and coming up with so many ideas and remand. Ano yung punto ko doon?
Ay, bago po natin puntahan yung pag-file ng motion, gusto ko actually tanungin. Kasi nag-viral po yung video ni Senator Joel Villanueva instructing Senator Amy Marcos na magsalita na, no? Na i-interrupt niya si Senator Risa. I mean, it is within their power, or it isn't really illegal to talk like that. But it gives the impression that merong kuntsabahan sa mga senador kasi may coaching na nangyayari.
Yun ang
legal po ba yun?
Yes. You cannot help. Hindi mo masisisi ang mga tao na magbintang na sabihin na gano'n. Na merong ang senaryo kayong gustong gawin.
May playbook.
Oo, may playbook. Sapagkat kitang-kita. And when somebody has the floor, bakit mo ba agaw yung floor? Kaya nga tama yung sinasabi ni Senator Risa Ontiveros, I have the floor, bakit sumisingit kayo? Well, she was just polite. Hindi niya sinabi yun. Ang sinabi lang na, I still have the floor, Mr. President. Dapat yun, the Senate President did not recognize anybody because she had the floor. Yun ang tamang parliamentary procedure.
And ang nangyari doon, si Senate President ay nag-suspend na lamang ng sesyon at binigay niya yung mikropono kay Senator Amy Marcos. So, hindi dapat ganon.
Hindi dapat ganon. Dapat pinatapos mo yung may hawak ng floor. Like, for example, in that case, Senator Risa, dapat pinatapos mo yun. Patapos nun, saka ka mag-suspend. Bali ko sana nagkakagulo, may emergency, kailangan ka mag-suspend kahit may nagsasalita. Pwede. Pero hindi
Yung nabanggit po ninyo tungkol sa pag-file ng motion, actually, sabi po ni Associate Justice Ascuna muli, that the Congress can promulgate its own rules on impeachment to effectively carry out the trial. Nasa Article 11, Section 3, Subsection 8 po yun. Pero, ibig sabihin, actually, yun din sinabi ni Senator Tolentino kanina na may sariling rules ang itong as an impeachment court, and they can say na pwede silang gumawa ng mga yung pagre-remand o yung mga order nila, which is yung nangyari doon dahil sa pag-file ng motion. So ano po ba yung logic doon? So bakit bawal mag-file ng motion?
Hindi pa nila binabago yung rules eh. I am the author of the impeachment rules eh. Yung kay Corona pa eh. Wala naman silang binago eh.
So doon po sa rules na yun, bawal mag-file ng motion?
Wala sinasabi rin na pwedeng basta na pwedeng mag-file ng motion ang senator judge. Wala sinasabing ganun doon. Simple. The senator judges can ask questions for clarification. Ganun lang.
But isn't that what they did?
To the defense, to the prosecution. Hindi pa sila trial court eh. Ang nangyayari, nag-impeachment court, pero ang kilos parang legislative body. That is my point. And that should not have been the case.
They should go into trial first.
they should start the trial. And look at the allegations. And then you can say now that hindi, mali, remand natin. Di ba? Kasi ang narinig ko, the other, was it this morning or yesterday? Ang sinasabi is deemed red. Ay, hindi pwede yun. Articles of impeachment ito, deemed red. Hindi mo binasa. Paano nila babasahin? June 3 pa lang nila.
Yun nga ho eh. Hindi rin binasa yung articles of impeachment. So in the future, that could also be questioned.
Definitely. Kaya I will not be surprised if people will, especially members of the IBP, who will question this in the Supreme Court, these accusations.
Because you need to read the articles of impeachment first before convening the court. Tama po ba? Mauna po yun.
They should.
But all processes should be
kung ni-refer nga sa Committee on Rules kasi agad yun, then pwedeng napag-aralan na kaagad ng mga membro ng Committee on Rules. Dapat ganun ang naging procedure niya noong February
na meron ng nakalatag na kung anong gagawin.
Oo, kasi kumbaga sa basketball, at
bago tayo maglaro,
ikaw naman ikaw ay atleta. Kumbaga sa basketball, anong nangyari na isang araw, dinribble mo ng dinribble, nung matatapos na yung shot clock at saka mo pinasa.
Pero walang shot clock po dito. Parang wala. Meron.
Meron dahil supposedly, January 11, mag-a-adjourn sila hindi ba? January 11 na? Yeah, January 11.
Do you think there was grave abuse of discretion?
In what sense? Na biglang nag-motion or nag-approve sila ng remand? Kasi sumunod naman sa kanila yung House They can do that if they have already reviewed. I'm not saying that yung remand nila is mali, Pwede. They can do that. If they already reviewed. If they went into trial or at least inquiry, then they could have done the remand. Logically and constitutionally. Yun ang pananaw ko. And I'm sure that is the opinion of many legal luminaries. I may not be one, but my 24 years or 28 years of background in legislation is more than taking up law.
Parang di po kayo masyadong masaya sa pamamalakad ngayon sa Senado. Does it make you want to lead the Senate as Senate President again?
If my colleagues will want me to lead, I will accept it. Now, whether I am elected a leader or not, my expertise and my track record will be used in the way the Senate is being run. Because I can always point out things that are wrong or procedures that are wrong when I am back there by July 28.
Pero given po yung political headwinds, do you think that will sit in favor with the other senators? Do you think they will be in favor of that rather? Na kayo po ay talagang stick to the rules?
Yeah, they have to.
Given the results of the last elections,
they have to.
with the overwhelming win by the Duterte candidates, yung showing po nila sa halalan, meron pong impression na baka natatakot yung itong mga senador of losing that support by 2028.
That becomes a different question or a different issue, I should say, because ang nangyayari doon, senador ka ba, ang iniintindi mo yung political career mo, hindi yung hinal ka ng tao at yung para what is good for the country. Dapat ang priority, what will be good for the country, what will be good for the people, di ba? Bahala na kung anong mangyari sa political career ko thereafter. Basta't ako, kikilos ako ng tama. Dapat ganun ang attitude ng senador.
Kung sakasakali po, do you think you have enough numbers to become Senate President?
Well, who knows? I don't know. Well, At this point, I can't say. I don't think so. I don't think we have a member of the Senate with more than 13 votes right now, but anything can happen at July 28. If nothing happens by July 28, there can be things that can happen before the end of the year. This is not a permanent. This is not a permanent thing. Hindi ba? Maraming pwedeng mangyari. Hindi natin masabi.
Given the way the Senate President incumbent has taken also that seat, medyo mabilisan din yun, ano? Oo. Pero pagdating naman po dito sa impeachment trial, mukhang talagang wala ng choice kundi pag-usapan ito sa susunod na Kongreso. Tama po ba? Kasi mayroon po dalawang request yung Senado. One is to have the constitutionality certified. Kung pinafollow nga nila yung rule na only one impeachment case filed in a year. At yung pangalawa ay to communicate with the 20th Congress kung sila ay amenable pa rin to pursuing the impeachment. Mukhang wala nang choice doon sa hiling ng Senado, hindi po ba?
Yeah, una, winiweigh ko yan eh. Winiweigh ko yung in favor, yung issue na, ito ba crossover? Carry over ba ito o hindi? Nung binapag-aralan ko yan, nung una, ang tingin ko, hindi eh. Pero once you review all the issues, mas mabigat yung mga 60-40. Talagang pwedeng crossover talaga. Pwedeng carry over. Now, in that case, important thing for a senator is you do not lawyer for the defense and you do not lawyer for the prosecution. Senator Judge Kay. So whether it's carried over or if it now, ang importante kumilos ka ng maayos. Kumilos ka na impartial ka. Pag-usapan mo yung may articles of impeachment eh. Yung sinasabi nila na yung 1-year ban. Okay. Ang pinipilit ng iba, kasi daw may nag-file noong December, di ba? Meron doon file December, meron sumunod na nag-file, puro December yan. Binibilang nila yun eh. Mali. Ang bilangin nila, yung sinubmit. Tignan nila muna yung konstitusyon. Tignan nila kung kailan sinubmit sa Office of the Speaker. Office of the Speaker, sinubmit January. So kung 1-year ban from January of 2025, kaya January 2026 ka pwede mag-file uli ng another impeachment for that particular issue of the impeachment. Kaya yung merong isa ata jurisdictional yung sinasabi nung remand resolution nila, no? Na mayroong sinasabi na kasi daw tatlo yung nag-file pagkatapos ito wala lahat yun. Kung o-honor mo yung gano'n, by buwan-buwan pwede kang filean eh. Hindi gano'n. Ang importante ron, nag-meeting yung Rules Committee nila, yung kung anong committee ang in charge sa kanila, at sinubmit nila sa Senate, sa Speaker. Yun ang dapat i-honor.
Sabi niyo po, binushwak ni Senate President Escudero.
No, what I said was the Senate leadership bushwhacked the articles of impeachment on day one. Because when they received it, they did not refer it to the Committee on Rules, which should have been the proper action to take.
Ano po ibig sabihin ng bushwhack?
They inambush. Inambush.
Ayun pala yun.
Oo.